And we're alive. Welcome to Humanity Unboxed. Good morning, Michaell McGroots. How are you this morning? I have to ask.
I am alive.
Ah,
And
that's
that predetermines everything. Every follow-up question it predetermines. First
yeah,
of all, I'm alive. Two, whatever.
yeah. It's a good start, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Say what our theme is today.
So we still have the general theme of energy this month, but our title for today is Seeds of Possibility.
I love that. You know why? Because in that comes education, and I just did yesterday with Tanya Cooper. I did a great, and she's an educator. I did a great thing in England too.
Yeah.
So seeds of possibilities. I thought this morning. I was looking at the beach and stuff, and I saw birds, and I thought learning, and I thought, what is education? What is learning?
Mm.
And I said, learning is life is learning.
Mm-hmm.
It's human centric, right?
Mm-hmm.
The 101, what we say. So learning is when one bird on one island finds out how to open this whatever, which is scientifically proven. The other birds, we are all interconnected,
Yeah.
even though we're individuals, because that individual bird found out how to open this crab or whatever to eat it. The other birds on the other islands know that too, and we know also, which I think might have talked about, that inspiration and invention happens simultaneously. For example, in before the internet, there were they invented some drug, and the same drug was invented all over, and there was copyrights,
Yeah.
patent strikes, but there was they could not find that there was any connection at all. Not even friends of friends, 6 degrees or
Yeah.
so. There was
Yeah.
none.
Yeah.
So learning, actually, I thought about this today, is the human centric, is life. Life equals learning.
Mm.
I mean, we go out, we zoom out. You and I zoom out. We're not staying in. We are not just putting another system on the system to fix the system, the outdatedness. I'm gonna go way away. I said, life is learning, because every moment we experience something, we adjust, we choose, and the problem is when we are systemically, the choices go down. We're not choosing. So in education, we are copying, we are repeating. What does a teacher is not a mentor anymore. He's not the intuitive guidance exemplary. It's just the executor that says, repeat this, make this right, get me the SAT, get me this. It is
Yeah.
not a mentor. It's not human. It's actually, a teacher should be actually the most humane person, right? Like a doctor.
Yeah.
Again, we come here in the human centric service of people from
Yeah.
systems, like a doctor, a priest. These people should be very human centric and very much looking at the one-on-oneness. But what they do is they collaborate. They bring all the kids in one uh, room and say, "Oh, there's girls and boys, there's boys and girls, and that's it." And oh, you're an African American girl, you're an Asian, and that's the whole thing they do. Instead of, you're all individual and everybody's a genius, because nature
Yeah.
doesn't make a mistake. So nature gave you the one-on-oneness, and imagine what education could be, not only financially, but as a magic and appreciated, if education guides you to find your one-on-oneness. You
Yeah.
come in from the family, you think, oh, I'm a part of the family, 7 years, and they come saying, no, you are one-on-oneness, because look at your family. Your family is completely different. And I thought about this because when I talked to her yesterday, I got the vibration that I've never met an educator that says education is perfect. Everybody complains about education. All the podcasts I did all over uh, complains about education, but nobody does anything, because we forgot how education, we can't reverse engineer anymore.
Mm.
This is so long, education is so long in that form in humanity. And that I talked yesterday to a smart gentleman, and he said, yeah, that's, and I told him about the Persian army, right? I told him that the kids, it was boys that were conditioned for the Persian army in 1845. That was the big start of education as is in a system.
Mm.
And he says, no, Michael, actually, it was before. They took the boys away from the parents in the Roman and the Greek thing. So this is so embedded in us.
Mm.
This kind of education, this, you know, be disciplined and copy and copy.
Cultures, in certain cultures, if we look at other cultures, if we
Yeah.
look at the more tribal
Yeah.
aspects where, you know, the boys might have been taken away or whatever, but they were taught how to live with nature, or they were taught their one of oneness. You know, you're a medicine man, or you're a farrier, or or you work with animals, or those skills, life things that could not only benefit the individual but benefit the tribe.
The system too. Yeah.
Together.
What I'm saying is the one-on-one does not only fulfill humans and actually show what humans are capable, because I was incapable, neurodiverse. I stuttered, and the system pushed me out and said, hey, sorry, you can't do it. You have to repeat the class. I have six years of education, and I had to repeat 2 that I have the 6 years. So
but this is so. I'm sorry, I'm just going to jump in here. So you have 6 years of formal education, but a lifetime of learning.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. I'm like the birds.
Exactly.
Like the
and we all like the birds. We want to be like the birds.
Yeah.
But that, that concept that you were explaining about, that we are connected, and I feel so sad that, yes, in this connectivity, we also being taught that we are stupid and not good enough and dumb and incapable and have disability, whatever words we want to put to it. But that's also being taught, because you're different, therefore you are wrong, or you are not good enough, or you don't fit into the thing. And the more we are being open with our children, I mean, fair enough to say that we all talk about education and no one does something, yet people do things and doors are being closed. I've spent years and years fighting this system, and I know we're not supposed to fight it, but in
updating
doing
this. You mean
something,
updating the system?
I mean
Make
updating
them aware.
but there's it's not easy. We can come up with all the possibilities, and there is just no productivity. The system is fed by how many people can we have in one class and get away with it.
It's never enough. It's never enough. So generalizing is cheap, and so there's a paradox in this, right? We in the letter that you published on LinkedIn about your education thing, it showed that the time is ready. The people wanted, and again, that proves my point, because they say, yeah, we understand that. We want to, yes, we want to give you weight.
Yeah. Well, just to give some insight into what Michael's talking about, it's not mine, but I'm a member of the British Psychological Society, and I got a letter to notify me of the campaign that they're busy with. And although it is just another systemic thing, it also shows awareness, as you are
awareness.
saying.
People want to. That's why I say, show me the person that is an educated from the top to the bottom, from a principal to just the share, the time teacher. Everybody says there's something wrong, and they feel it all, but they can't reverse engineer it, because it is in the human consciousness for so long, for so many generations. Then they cannot say, oh, it's about the one-on-oneness. We say it because this is that's our job. We are awareness, creativity awareness educators, and we push and pull out. and I constantly pull out when I see an animal. I saw an animal today, and that triggered me and said, life is learning.
Yeah.
So why do we make learning? And then they come now systemically also with lifelong learning. Learning is
Learning is lifelong,
life.
yeah.
Learning
But
is
we also
life.
need to
Yeah,
communicate these concepts. So we
exactly.
use these words so that we can kind of try and find a way to understand each other.
Yeah,
So
to
yeah,
awareness, to bring the awareness in, because we know the symptoms of every educator being frustrated about something, and they hold on to their jobs and whatever, obviously, because they need to earn something. There's nobody to blame here. It's a general misunderstanding and and incapability to reverse engineer and saying, I cannot, I don't know, there's something wrong with education, but I can't put my finger on it. Yeah, because you're thinking about the last 10 years. You're thinking about the last 20 years, but it's generations. I mean,
yeah,
if you just go to Persian Army, 1845, you can't just, that's why most systems are so long, and that's why the updating is so hard, because the people, they think, oh, it can't do this, let's do another system to fix that.
yeah,
It's one system after more, where the logistics become so intricate that we cannot even, that we need to have specialized and systems for the logistics. Like AI is a system for the logistics, you know,
yeah,
and we're not creating anything. We're not finding, because, and that's why it's so simple. I say, it's so simple when you go into one-on-one. Is the solution of education is very simple, but they can't even think about the simplicity because they can't reverse engineer it. And so,
yeah.
Einstein, everybody made simple.
Yeah, exactly. And it is about simple, but there are people that are doing amazing stuff in education,
Oh,
more and more,
beautiful.
and have been over many years. I mean, Maria Montessori
Yeah,
did a lot, which those are also systems, but those systems, for example, the Montessori system starts with the child, it
yeah,
starts with the one of one, it starts with your uh, input in it,
yeah,
yeah. And I've been connected with a guy in Bali who has a very interesting school concept with very much sustainability.
yeah,
There are many, many, many places. We talking about mainstream schooling, which most of us and most of our children are being exposed to,
yeah,
and sadly don't have access to these other more intuitive systems. Even within, I was having these conversations quite often these days with parents who are noticing how difficult it is for their children to navigate these. When I was growing up, it was there was a special class, or there was a special space, or there was now it's like, how do we include everybody and then exclude everybody at the same point, because we are trying to generalize something that should never be generalized.
yeah,
um, I was talking to a parent yesterday, and the head of special education is choosing to rather become a postman because there's more money and less hours in it for him. You know what I mean?
yeah.
Because he's not being seen, his suggestions aren't being heard. He's coming up with great ideas to um, you know,
To update the system, to
navigate, to
update. Yeah,
update the system, to have
yeah,
ADHD learners have, movement in their learning. But it's just, no, I need all the children's in the class sitting down for an hour. Well, I think it's an hour and a half lessons, or 75-minute lessons. So an hour and 15 minutes being in the same space, it's just not sustainable. But this is what I want because that looks good on paper.
but this is what our parents did, what our grandparents did, and this is the problem. We
Yeah.
just do it. We're not questioning it.
Oh, I'm
Nature always
questioning
did.
it. Making a
No,
big
no.
noise.
I know you and
Yeah.
I. But the thing is, you see with Montessori too. You see how hard, even though she has the unbelievable uh, success, right? I told you, 6 of 7, the
Yeah.
millionaires, the tech millionaires, went to Montessori school. They put all their kids, And Bill Gates put his kids in the Montessori school. He
Yeah.
didn't. He was the one that wasn't in Montessori,
Yeah.
and he put his thing. So one even have the successes and all this stuff, and the stuff. The other issue is, I ask the other question I ask. I said, "What is education human centric or system relevant?" And it's neither. It's neither. If you came out of school, right, you're going through all this trauma that your children goes through, and that we went through, right? And you come out and you get for sure a job that gets you riches and you can buy whatever you need and all this stuff. I would say yes. At least there is some choice. Suffer to get, but it's not. You can come out of Harvard, Cambridge, wherever you come out of today, doesn't guarantee a job, doesn't guarantee your fulfillment, doesn't guarantee that your ability and skill can be expressed 100%, that actually you can see it. It doesn't. So what happened in systems? When you are Harvard, you get hired, or Cambridge or Oxford. It doesn't. I'm not. They're all the same. You get in there, and you come out. You have with honors. You graduate with honors. They give you possibilities, and what do they do the first time that any system? They train you. That's how much they train you. That's how much trust we have in education. So education is what I said before. It's a metaverse, and it's a time waste. It's just, let's just play college, get drunk, a party, get on drugs to finish the classes, get good grades, and then so you're just enough. You need to actually work to be enough. You go in this metaverse to be systemically enough. So if you're not an AA student, you're not even accepted. So it makes the enoughness harder to be. So you have to go in this metaverse for the 4 years or 5 years or 8 years or whatever with the whole education, and it's waste. You have no clue. People, I have so many friends in my age where they say, I'm gonna go to university, I will figure out what I'm gonna do.
Yeah.
That's the last thing the university wants to teach you. It says, you gotta know what you wanna do, and then we make you a lawyer. And then the lawyer has to still do all the time to be a lawyer. So it's not just, so it's all an extension. So it's neither system relevant nor human centric. And that's why it frustrates us so much, or we don't get paid for enough.
Yeah. But wouldn't the solution be to look at it from a human centric space, to go, okay, coming back to our title today, how do we plant and nurture those seeds of possibility? Because everything is possibility, isn't it? I can just relate it back to my own life. I hated school. It was the most horrible place in the world for me. But I had the highest marks in this. It was our 30-year school reunion on Saturday in South Africa. So it kind of brings back those memories of, achieving the whatever you were supposed to achieve, but not knowing who I was. What do I want to do? I want to do all these things. Going to a career counselor person who said, oh, you can do everything, but just don't do this one thing that you really love, because you won't go anywhere with it.
That's usually. I want to be a musician. Don't be a musician. Don't be an artist.
There's no money. I wanted to know more about humans. So psychology was the only connection that I knew to find out more about how we work, which it isn't, I've realized since. But it was like, oh, don't do that, because you have too much potential. You'll just become a teacher, was the exact words.
It is so sad.
And then I went to study law, dropped out after 3 years studying law, came back, went traveling, came back, studied psychology, then studied education, and did all of those things, and realized how that wasn't what where the change was being made. And that we only learn through experience, sadly.
That because life is the experience, and our little sample that we want to do with a team sports, teams art, an animal, and the awareness about it.
Yeah.
We talk to our colleagues, to Kimberly and Sumi, and to do this would have experience instead of just learning about a book. You can learn about a book once you know what you want to experience. Your life is, you want to know yourself, know thyself is life, and learning is experiencing, and from experience is the highest learning, and the absolute highest knowledge. We said that before, is when, like what you and I do, we don't say, hey, you're wrong, Michelle, or Michael, you're horrible. That's not. But it's I give you my perspective and you give me your perspective, and by the two exchanging of two life perspectives is the thing. That's why we want to do the awareness, and we want to have the group art and the group sports do both, so they can say, hey, I don't want to be a violent sports rugby player. No, you can do the dresses you can do the jerseys, you can be the referee for the things, and reverse, the quarterback has to be the 67-year-old knitting woman in the theater play. But because the experience, how was that? Was it embarrassing? Why? Why did your goldfish die? Why did your worm do certain things? Why did you get upset? There's a person in our group that is really good with dogs. I'm asking her, and so there already is the predetermined, guidance in what direction the person is, and she experienced that, or he experienced that. Let's talk about math. Let's go to Perry. Perry knows about math. And so this exchange, not the money exchange, but the exchange of helping each other, is so powerful when you experience that, and also when you're not shamed. It's like, you don't know math, you know algebra, you should know algebra. No, you don't. In neurodiversity, you that's why in neurodiversity nothing is the same. There's dyslexia. There's no two dyslexia people that are the same, and that's so good. That's why we lighten this whole thing up, because there is no the same, and there's no, and the whole world talks about this, and we gotta now say, hey, let's just shift to the one-on-oneness, because we know if we keep generalizing humans, we segregate them, and we keep them on the bottom. We're not allowing them to experience.
Yeah, and I mean, just going back to your point around shame, this is what happens in the system as well. When we stand up and we question, and we send an email to the school or phone the school if they take your phone call or they ever return it or anything like that. There's always an element of shame where it's like, oh, you that parent, oh, you that person,
exactly. Of course,
or you are rude, or whatever thing they're going to put on you to create a barrier. Therefore, people are scared because they don't want to be shamed, and they don't want to say, this doesn't feel. I mean, I had it last week. I took the children to the dentist. Dentistry should be, it's a system, isn't it? Healthcare. And I walked out and I'm like, I don't think this is right. I don't want to put 2 fillings in my child's teeth because the doctor says there might be a cavity one day, literally.
Oh my God.
So I phoned
money.
him the next day.
It's never enough.
I phoned him
no
the
matter
next
what.
day and I said, sorry, I want a second opinion. I don't know if I'm right. I don't know dentistry, but I know the human body of a 12-year-old boy is quite a wonderful thing that can recreate and look after itself to a point. So if you're going to drill into a tooth now, for the rest of his life, he's tied into your system.
Exactly.
So that's a random kind of thing, but it still comes back to standing up for our,
your one-on-oneness. Your one-on-oneness. Standing up for your. Okay, this might help a million people. Doesn't mean it has to work. We know that from truth, right? When a
Yeah.
billion people say this is the truth, Aryan nation, right?
Yeah.
Doesn't make that right. There is no
Yeah.
confirmation that Aryan race is the best race. There is no confirmation afterwards. But a billion people or whatever believe that, because it wasn't just Germany; it was all over the world.
But
The
it's
Aryan
still
race.
happening. That's still happening. I mean,
Yeah,
the chosen people does not exist. I'm sorry,
does
but it
not
doesn't
exist. That is
exist.
zero. So
Yeah.
let us tell you from Aryan people, it doesn't exist. We are
No,
all one on
every
one.
single individual is the chosen person.
Yeah. Every
Yeah.
individual is God. Everybody is a part of God, and we all interconnected. And there's so much fear of we have a drive from DNA to be all one. Even when you said that now with you that they wanted to make you in school, I felt
Yeah.
that like you're driven by DNA to be all that we all have an experience, a collective experience, a collaborative experience. And then the system, the person that is, I'm not blaming the person. I'm not blaming the person, the system.
No.
Just so afraid because it's never enough because
Mm.
money has become survival. And when
Mm.
money is survival, it has to also get lower. The costs have to get lower. And guess what? If the costs, if either you scale and you get everybody, or the
Mm.
costs get lower. When the costs get lower, it it gives less thing for the humans. It gives less service to the humans,
Mm.
and that's why we created systems to help out, not to give us less and less and condition us for less and less and less. Now you have to survive. You have to think. I mean, what's with my home and
Mm.
stuff. It's
Yeah.
just, and in Kennedy said, the one that runs now.
Yeah.
He said in an interview, he says, in 2 years ago in America, a single house was $215,000 average. The average
Mm.
today in 2 years, it's 400. Money isn't worth anything anymore. You have to be a trillionaire today, a billionaire. Nobody talks about it. But and there was a guy that checked out what is the value of of billions versus 30 years ago. It was a couple of millions. It
Yeah.
wasn't so we just lie to each other, pretend we sell things that are not worth anything and making unbelievable prices, and then system force the people to pay taxes,
Mm.
and because we all relying, this is what I got, we all relying to live off systems
But,
weren't
but then,
made to live off this.
yeah, but
Yeah,
then these systems do things against our wishes,
exactly.
and I mean, I don't want to be part of a genocide, but that money is being used to send weapons to
Yeah,
kill
you have nothing
innocent
to say.
people.
You have nothing to say, Michelle. You
But
you
then I don't
you
want to be
pay
part of
you
that
pay war.
system.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. They take from you, and see, this is the awareness we need to get. They take from you and use it for this.
Mm.
It's just, and then they say, "Oh my God, these wars and whatever." And also, I said before, you can't support two things: climate change and war. You have to make a choice because the war is the biggest polluter,
Mm.
and climate change is climate change. So you either want to do taxes for the climate change, or you want to take it for war. But you can't take it for both because you want to play war and climate change in your as the leaders. You can't do this because you're so afraid of never having enough, no matter what you do. So
Yeah. Well, that's why all these things are relatives. It's all ideologies. It's all being used to sell something. While if we create connection to the earth and to
yeah,
our surroundings, which we are part of,
yeah.
we wouldn't support war, and we would, make sure that the earth is healthy and nurtured, so that climate change would take its natural course, which it
We are
will
part
in
of the
some way.
earth. We are
Yeah.
part of the earth. We are
Mm.
part of nature. And nature doesn't make mistakes. It made us 101. Why do and every time humans fight nature, you lose.
Oh yeah,
That's why
definitely.
Atlantis,
Which, yeah, we
but
still
I mean
doing that
all
though.
these
I mean, we're playing
life
with weather
incarnations,
and yeah.
always you fight nature. Nature allows a lot, but when it's too much, it just makes one thing and it's gone.
Yeah.
And I think we're in the 8th generation of humans, so we have killed ourselves 8 times or 7 times already. So we can choose that, or we can say, let's dance with nature. Let's dance with each other, humans. We are connected anyway. We don't have to hug, kiss, sleep with each other, but we can be in the same boat. We can, and then like Montessori, one person can change the world. That's why we all have to speak up, and that's why you and I talk about the awareness, because when people talk and become aware, then they actually change. There's no way once you know you have cancer, you can't just ignore that. Or once you know
Yeah.
there's something happened with your child, you have to do something. You can't just say, "Oh, I don't care." You know.
Yeah.
It,
Well, we're living in an age where ignorance is a choice, I believe.
yeah, yeah,
Um, you can choose to be aware or you can choose to be ignorant. And
yeah,
yeah.
yeah. And you need to choose, and not to choose, because education doesn't choose. It just does more, more, and more, and make it more complicated and more things. It just puts on stuff, and it says, "What's the function?" So we really need to say, and I trust if the people say, "Okay, the function of education is to get you into systems," I will be okay, because at least it's a choice that the collective human made.
If you choose to do that, then you should be able to choose to not be part of that
Yeah, not
education.
be part of it, and
Yeah.
also it has to guarantee that when you do the education, you get a job.
Yeah.
If it is about that, then it has to. But see, now it's not a choice. It's because I told you it's neither
Mm.
human centric nor is it system relevant. If it's human centric, that would be the best, because it would make humans fulfilled,
Mm.
humans to see their human potential, their unique one human potential, and ultimately that comes afterwards would make systems more effective. So
Yeah.
it's a win-win-win. It would make high quality products and services, and it will. So it's a win-win-win situation.
Yeah.
So I'm not the decider for humans, but I say whatever the humans want to decide, they need to decide and not decide. We don't want to update systems. We don't want to update education. Everybody's frustrated with systems. Everybody's frustrated with education, and nobody wants to update them. Nobody and the only update that we suggest is make it the 101.
Person. Yeah. Look at the individual. Do you
Yeah,
know this person who you're making these recommendations of?
exactly. Yeah,
That's
and
all I'm
don't
asking. Yeah.
exactly don't
And
go
have
over
some
humans.
knowledge though, if
Yeah,
you're going to hold on to labels, then understand what dyslexia means in the
exactly.
bigger picture, not just I struggle with writing and reading, because that's not dyslexia
Learning disability,
alone.
stupid
No,
learning disability.
no.
We
Yeah.
we are so
So there's
yeah
much
we are.
more.
You and I have a real problem with learning.
I love it because it's such a human, um it's a natural thing. Like, we want to
Learning
learn.
is living.
Yeah.
Learning is living. That's what I
Yeah.
said at the beginning. It's
Yeah, but no
life.
one wants to learn. I mean, English as a language, hello, that is the biggest
Yeah,
waste of time, because none of the rules make sense and there are too many exceptions to even have rules. So now you want to tell me that, you know, I
you
can't do
have
it
to speak
right.
it. You have to speak it. You can't
Yeah.
understand English if you don't speak it. You know.
Well, you can, yeah, it's a little bit tricky in different areas, even to
Yeah,
understand what's being said, and everybody speaks English. So that's my
yeah,
point. You know what I mean? I learned English mostly through a dictionary. So,
yeah.
like, now no one's following the rules, and I don't understand what you're saying, which is pretty much life often, for
Yeah,
neurodivergent people, because there's these unwritten rules and there's these things that I need to be able to understand, but I can only understand it if I connect with you, so that I know what you mean and not what I
exactly.
think you
Six
mean.
senses, not
Mm,
just linear. So you need to.
exactly.
That's why talk and interaction is so much more fulfilling. And it's only they say it's only 36%. If people
Yeah.
meet, not that we are on Zoom, that's also better, but it's not the best. The best would be you and me meeting
In
directly,
person.
and
Yeah.
that's only 36% of exchange of communication.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's why we can even communicate in silence.
Exactly.
sometimes deeper than
Because
with
we are all interconnected. Yeah.
yeah. Perfect place to end it. Thank you, Michael.
You're
We
welcome.
will chat again
Beautiful.
next week, possibly
Yeah.
on Tuesday instead of Monday. We'll set it
Okay.
all up. Um,
Okay.
but thank you. Thank you for planting some seeds of
It was so
possibility.
beautiful. Thank you.
Thank you.